With us now is Grace Tober from Rayford, North Carolina, and Grace is up here for Mule Days today. Tell us a little bit about competing on your mule here. What classes are you in?
I'm in the youth class, the walk, jog, and trot.
Right.
And I did a couple of Go As You Please.
And what's your mule's name?
Smokey.
And how old is Smokey?
Smokey is 16.
Right. Is this your first time competing with Smokey?
Yes.
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 Okay. All right. Well, good luck, and we hope you have a good time today.
All right.
Thanks for talking with me. With us now is Faith Tober. Faith, how old are you?
I'm 4.
And you had a stick horse mule challenge?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you win?
A medal.
Show it to us. Oh, that's gorgeous. And you won 2 of them?
Not 2. I won 1 on my wheel mill.
Uh-huh. In the lead line class?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So you've scored big today, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you going to do next? You going to be in the parade?
Mm-hmm.
And what are you going to be riding? The mule that Gracie's riding?
Lulu.
Lulu. Okay. And that's the little mule?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you in the parade then, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you for spending some time with me.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Tammi Thurston and I am the director of Martin Community College. I also work at Thurston Quarter Horses where I train horses and work with clients, youth, and amateurs. This is Carrie Stewart. She is our latest addition to the program. She's the new instructor here at Martin Community College, and I'd like to introduce to you Gator. Gator is one of our college stallions, and he's going to be assisting us today in our program. So what we're going to talk about today is grooming. And for some of you that might seem like a relatively simple subject, but actually it's so important. And the reason it's so important is because the horse's largest organ really is his skin, his hair coat. And so we need to make sure that we take really, really good care of our horses. One of the first questions that I ask my students is, what does good horsemanship mean to you? And a lot of them will say to me, well, Miss Tammi, it means that you can ride a horse really well, that you can sit up there just perfectly in your equitation, that you can jump 2-foot fences. And they have a lot of answers, and those are all really good answers. But to me, horsemanship starts with something much more simple, and that is being a good horseman by caring for our horses. So that's what we are going to talk about today. And we're going to start off with some really simple material and then move to some things a little more complicated that deal with grooming. So the first thing we're going to talk about is just overall grooming. In general, brushing, that type of thing, like the day-to-day type of grooming that you're going to do on your horse. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to be pretty organized anytime you're working with your horse. You want to be in an area that is allows you the opportunity to be able to get out of the way just in case something happens. So for me, I'm working on this side, and if something would happen, I have an open space over here. I can easily move away from this horse and get to safety. The other thing is that you want to make sure actually that when you are working with your horse, that you stay relatively close to them and that they always know where you are at all times. Safety is of the utmost importance. I don't care if you have the most gentle, quiet horse in the world and they would never intentionally hurt you. It's just really important because they might go to stomp at a fly and your foot might be in the way. So you always want to be really aware of where your horse is and where you are, and know that they're a large animal and that accidents do sometimes happen. So you want to make sure that you have on proper footwear. I know when I was a kid, I look back and I think about I was at the barn, I had flip-flops on, bare feet, a bathing suit, and that was great, but thank goodness I didn't lose any toes in the process. So you just want to make sure that you at least have safe, proper footwear. It's also a good idea if you'd like to wear a helmet when working with horses. They're not just for riding, but that's an additional safety measure that you can add to the equation. So another thing is that you want to be prepared, and how I've prepared today is I've got all my grooming supplies here in this little tote. it can be any kind of tote. It can be a plastic bag for all that matters, as long as your horse is comfortable with plastic bags. But you want to have all of your items rounded up so that you don't have to start brushing and then you've got to run back to the tack room and get another brush. And you want to have everything ready to go and organized so that when you start grooming, you can get through it in a very quick amount of time, so your horse doesn't get bored, and that you can get done and you can get on to the fun part, which is riding. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a rubber curry comb. Now there are so many different types of rubber curry combs. My personal favorite is this type of a rubber curry comb, and it's just a soft rubber curry, and it's got little teeth on it, they're not really sharp, but they kind of come somewhat to a point. And I love this curry comb because I have tried every type of curry comb, and this one to me gets a hold of the hair and the dirt better than any other that I've tried. Also, horses don't seem to mind it. They do make a very, very soft type of curry just like this. It's even softer than this one that's really soft and squishy. So if you have a horse that has really sensitive skin, or it just doesn't like to be rubbed on very hard, you can use one of these that's really soft, or you can even use like a grooming mitt, something like this. But for today, I'm going to start with this. And I like this also because it has the handle, because you don't want to keep dropping your curry comb, having to be messing around their feet. You want to have this, and you want to stick that on your hand and make sure that, you know, you can get through this rather quickly. So what I generally try to do is I always start at their neck and I work my way back. And you wouldn't think that there is a right way to probably curry your horse, but there really is. And I guess the best way you can think about it is when you brush your hair, you brush it downward and you go with the grain of the hair. And what if you brushed your hair upwards? That wouldn't be very comfortable, and it would just, you know, probably you would get your brush tangled and all. So there is a method for brushing horses too, and there are a couple different ways to do it. Everybody has their preference, and I'll show you a couple different options, and then I'll show you probably what not to do. That's something that your horse maybe wouldn't appreciate as much. Generally, you want to start up by their throat latch, and what I like to do personally is I like to start in one spot and I like to work in a circular motion. Now most horses are going to love this because this feels like a massage to them. And I'm just going to work a section at a time, and you can even see all the hair that's coming off of him. And I'm going to maybe go back and work another section, but I want to make sure that I don't miss one point on this horse. And I like to go in that circular motion. Now some people take their curry comb and they'll just kind of brush the horse like this with the grain of the hair. And that's okay. And then I've seen some people that put a curry comb on each hand and they'll curry with two. And that's great because it's just twice the brushing that your horse gets. Currying is really important because it helps bring the natural oils to the surface, and it just helps. It's kind of like a natural way of moisturizing your horse's hair coat. So you can also just brush in a straight line, and that works really well too. But what you don't ever really want to do is you don't want to go against the grain of the hair. That's just not going to be very good for your horse's hair coat. It's going to make it look rough and uneven, and it's probably just not as comfortable for the horse. So I'm going to work my way all the way around this horse, making sure not to miss any spots. Now, if you're like me, I'm a little on the shorter side, and so sometimes the horses that I ride, they can be up to 17 hands tall, and it can be a little difficult to reach up there on their rump. So you want to make sure if you need a step stool or something to help you reach up there. As long as your horse is comfortable with that, you can use a step stool, or you can get someone to reach up there for you, but you want to make sure that you get all the way up on top of their back, especially where the saddle is going to go, their rump, get all that hair, and just go over the whole horse. I'm going to stop there. I did miss some spots, but to save time, we'll stop there. The other part to not forget is you want to make sure that you get all the dirt from underneath their bellies. So then the next step is you've got all that turned loose. You want to go through with what we call a body brush, and there's a stiff body brush and a softer body brush. And what you can do is you can take your stiffer body brush and you're going to use it kind of in a flicking motion, and that's going to take and flick all that dirt, all that hair off of your horse. All that you brought up with your curry comb, you're just going to flick that off. So we're just going to flick all that dead hair, that dead skin off of your horse. You can then go back with your softer brush, and this just kind of puts the polish on your horse. Nice soft brush to smooth that hair and get in there one more time. Now with your soft brush, we're going to go ahead and talk about grooming their head and their legs. Now at this point you want to switch to a softer type curry, something like this, or something specifically made for currying their heads. But you want to be really conscientious because horses underneath their forelock a lot of times will get a real buildup here, and it's kind of a goopy, sticky substance sometimes, or it's really dry. And it'll actually cause them in the summertime to lose a lot of hair on their foreheads there. So I'm just going to take and make sure that I curry this area. And generally most horses, you know, might take them a little while to get used to it, but most horses like him, you can see he really enjoys it. He even has fingers to be able to scratch his head, so we're doing it for him. And you can see all that hair and dust and dirt that's coming loose. We're just going to get that. And then once we get all of that hair loose, we're going to go back in with that soft brush and again try to go the grain of the hair and just brush all of that off of there. Then while we're at it, we can take our soft brush and brush his legs. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to just come in there and touch him on the leg. You always want to start, again, thinking about safety. So we're going to put our hand on his shoulder, run our hand down his leg to let him know that we're there, and then we're just going to flick all that dirt away and get rid of all that dirt. Okay. So next, that brings me to brushing out their mane and their tail. If any of you have your mom brush your hair, you know that if your hair is really tangly and she goes to brush it, it can be very uncomfortable. Or if you brush it yourself, it's very uncomfortable. So we don't want to just rip through the horse's mane and tail. We want to make sure that if they're really matted up and really dirty, that we would wash it first, or that we could use some kind of product that would help us make that hair a little silkier and easier to brush through. And so I've got some different products here today. Okay, let's see. We'll go with, this is kind of like a show sheen, and so we can use this on their mane and their tail to help get kind of like a detangler, get some of those tangles out. This is also a product called Healthy Hair Care that I just love. And any similar type of product that has some oil in it that you can put on their mane or their tails, and then overall they're on their whole body, this stuff is really great too. So we'll just, actually I'm going to go ahead and use the Healthy Hair Care because it's really great for brushing through manes and tails. So I'm going to go ahead and spray some of this on his mane. And then I'm going to take a brush. Now you can use a comb or a brush, and I do have a comb here, but I like the brush a lot better because I think that it goes through the hair a lot more easily. So what I want to do is I don't want to start at the top and kind of rip my way through. I want to start at the ends and work my way up so that I can slowly get all the tangles out. So I'm going to kind of start there at the end, and I'm going to work my way up. Now Gator, he's been on vacation all summer, and he has been out to pasture. He's had the summer off from school, just like many of you. And so he really hasn't had a whole lot of TLC this summer. So he's got a few little tangles and gnarls in his mane, but you can see how quickly with that product, that detangler, how quickly they come out. You can even go to the store and just get human detangler and use that, or the beauty supply store. That works really well. So we'll just brush through that mane. Again, you want to start at the bottom and work your way all the way up. He's losing a lot of hair because he hasn't had a really good grooming session in a while. So this shows you how important it is to keep your horse groomed up every day. Even if you're not riding them, it's just like you taking care of yourself or taking a bath every day. You want to try to groom your horse every single day. So we'll just keep working through that. The tail is the same concept. Again, you can use a show sheen type product or something like the Healthy Hair Care. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and spray a little bit of this on his tail. And then I want you to notice where I'm standing. I'm not standing directly behind this horse because, again, he's a sweetheart. He would never intentionally hurt me. But if he went to kick at a fly, I could possibly be in the way and he would accidentally kick me or maybe step on me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand off to the side and bring his tail around to me. And same thing, I want to start at the bottom and then I'm going to work my way up. And then if you do that, again, you're going to slowly work through all the gnarls and the tangles without him losing a whole lot of hair. So you'll just keep brushing, and then if you find that your horse's tail is just too dirty or too gnarled up, I would say go ahead and give them a bubble bath. Use some shampoo and conditioner on their tail. You can use horse products, or really you can just go to Walmart and buy some cheap shampoo and conditioner for their manes and their tails. So the last few things, the last few steps that I like to do are to pick their feet. That's extremely important because you want to make sure that there's not a rock or some foreign material. So again, I'm going to start at this horse's shoulder, work my way down, and ask him to pick up his foot. Oh no, he won't pick up his foot. What am I going to do? Well, there's a little thing on his leg, and it's called a chestnut. And I'm going to pick up this leg and see if you can see it on this other leg. This is called a chestnut. And what you can do if you have a hard time getting your horse to pick up their leg is you just squeeze that chestnut and magic, they'll pick their foot up. Maybe. Come on. There we go. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. You'll get it eventually. So we're just going to make sure that we get all the dirt and muck and manure out of their feet. And you just want to make sure that the foot looks healthy, that there's not any kind of maybe hole in there or a foreign object stuck in there. And the other thing that you're going to do, although feet generally don't smell all that great, you want to make sure that there's not a really bad, strong smell coming from their feet, because that could potentially mean that this horse is suffering from thrush and would need to be treated. So if you do come across that when you're cleaning your horse's feet, it's a particularly strong smell or smell that you're not used to, make sure that you tell someone so that you can see if your horse would need treated for thrush. One of the last things that I do is, again, I go back to that Healthy Hair Care product or any product that's similar, and I'll just spray that over my whole entire horse. And then, to really make sure that it gets in there, I'll take and brush that product into their skin. And that just helps keep their coat nice and shiny. And if some of the oils have been lost because you have been giving them bubble baths, it just helps to replenish those oils. So if your horse is really hot, dirty, sweaty, the best thing to do, and what I always do, as long as the temperature is above 70 degrees, is I rinse them off when I'm done riding them. And sometimes if I bring them in from the pasture and they're that way, I'll rinse them off and give them a bath even before I ride. So we won't do that today for time purposes, but just get a good equine shampoo. Or if you notice that they've maybe got some rain rot or fungus, a good medicated shampoo. And you just basically, the same way that you would curry them, you would wet them down, put a little bit of shampoo, and wash and scrub them all over. you would want to pay special attention when rinsing them that you get every little last bit of soap, because the soap will blister the skin. So basically it'll almost look like if you've ever had a sunburn and your skin peels. Your horse's skin will peel if you leave soap on their skin. So you want to make sure that you rinse them really, really well. The other thing is, when you're rinsing your horse, you want to make sure that you get in all those little crevices and cracks. So what I'll do is I'll take the hose and I'll point it up underneath and hose in between his hind legs really well. I will lift his tail up and hose underneath his tail or her tail, and I want to make sure that I get every inch of them. And we also hose their heads off. Now it might take you might have to start off very slowly with teaching them to accept having their heads hosed, but if you take it little by little, they'll become very familiar with it, and they even like it. If you can't ever get to that point where they'll let you hose their heads off, you can always wet a sponge down and use a sponge or a rag. So this horse, he's got a really nice hair coat right now. It's summertime, and it's easy to groom a horse in the summertime. When it gets really difficult is winter. And they've been out to pasture, they're caked with mud, they've got poop stains on them, they're just a mess. And so what are you going to do in the wintertime when you can't give them a bath? Well, I've got a couple different products here that I would like to share with you. There is this Cowboy Magic green stain remover. This works really well for grass stains or manure stains. We've also got, this is a spray-on shampoo. So basically what you do with this product is you spray it on, and then you can curry and then wipe it off. So this is a really great product if you don't have access to water, and it can be used any time of the year. Really wonderful product. Something else that works really well, and you don't want to use this all the time, but just plain rubbing alcohol is great for cleaning the horse up. A lot of times what I'll do in the winter is I'll just spray maybe their girth area and the saddle area and scrub that with a towel to get all the dirt and sweat off. Basically, the dry shampoo, you would follow the directions, but it's a pretty simple concept. You're just going to spray it on your horse once you turn it on. And then you're going to rub it in, and it's going to release all of the dirt and dust. You're just going to rub that in. Another really great spray that we use here at the college, because college students are often on a tight budget, and these products can be rather expensive, is if you take half rubbing alcohol and half witch hazel and half apple cider vinegar, mix those two together, shake it up, and then you can spray that all over the horse. It's really incredible because not only does it clean them up, but it also acts like an antifungal. And so it's going to keep your horse from getting rain rot, scratches, any of those nasty funguses they can get summer or winter. So that's a really great product too. The green spot remover works the same. We'll just pretend like this is a green spot here. And we'll spray that on. Let it soak for a minute, and same thing, you can just come in with a towel and just scrub that off. One thing to remember with your horse and grooming, having a good hair coat and a good condition, or having your horse in a good condition, it oftentimes starts with what they're eating. So you want to make sure that your horse is getting fed on a regular schedule, and they're getting a feed that's appropriate for them. And hay. Hay is the most important thing. You want to feed them the best hay that you can afford to. To me, hay is actually a lot more important. They need a lot more foliage than they do a grain. So you want to just make sure that they are having plenty to eat and that they're on a good diet for them. And that's really basically all we have for grooming today. I hope you enjoyed it.
Stay tuned. Modern Horseman TV will be right back.
If you're interested in a career working with horses, then Martin Community College is the place for you. MCC's Equine Technology program is the only one offered among North Carolina's 58 community colleges. The program is management-oriented with classes in breeding, nutrition, training, riding, equine health, and more. Graduates can leave MCC prepared to work in recreational and racing barns, breed to discipline-oriented farms, or assistant farm management. For more information, contact Martin Community College today.
Yeehaw! Get on there and ride too.
I can't see you for the
Hey! Hi, my name's Paul Dunn. I'm from Mule City Feeds here in Benson. I'm a member of the Benson Area Chamber of Commerce, and these are my mules. We want to invite you to come to Benson Mule Days in September. It'll be the 4th weekend, and look forward to seeing you. Come on down to Mule Day this September.
North Carolina Horse Council welcomes you to the 4th annual Cowboy Up event, held September the 11th through the 13th in Lumberton, North Carolina at the Southeastern Agricultural Events Center. For more information, go to the NC Horse Council website at www.nchorse.council.com. This event is sponsored by the North Carolina Horse Council, the Lumberton Visitors Bureau, the Border Belt Horsemen's Association, Carolina Hoofbeats TV, Modern Horseman TV, and Southeast Equine Magazine.
Hi, I'm Rick Peniston. I train my horse Jake to trust me and be brave in order to face the obstacle challenges and win in extreme cowboy races. It takes dedication, hard work, and innovation to train a champion. As an attorney representing injured persons, I use the same skills to win compensation for people injured in accidents or on-the-job injuries. If you've been injured in an accident or on the job and need advice, call me. I want to hear from you.
Every 13.7 minutes, somebody commits suicide in the United States. Join us in Tryon, North Carolina at the Fence Equestrian Center for a 5-day event like no other. On October 20th through the 24th, we are raising funds for suicide prevention and awareness. We have clinicians coming from all over for the entire 5-day stay, and we'll be given demos as well as clinics and lessons throughout the event. Please join us at lionslegacyrideforlife.com for more information.